Hello, first year. Video number 2 of 2. So we're going to look at subtracting negative numbers this time. So the last video we looked at adding negative numbers. This video we're looking at subtracting negative numbers. And we're going to start in exactly the same way as we did before. We're going to try and spot a pattern that should lead us to how do we deal with subtracting negative numbers. Okay, so first questions first. Up here it says 3 minus 5. All right, now if you're still a little bit unsure, then go to your number line, look at number 3, and you need to go back 5 places. All right, so 3 minus 5, negative 2. Okay, just tidy up my number line. Now what about 3 minus 4? So start on 3, back 4 places, that's negative 1. Right, 3 minus 3, don't need my number line for 3 minus 3, do I? Because that's 0, obviously. 3 minus 2, that'll be 1. 3 minus 1, that would be 2. 3 minus 0, that would be 3. Now let's stop, spot the pattern. What's happening here? Well, to go from negative 2 to negative 1, look, there's negative 2 there. There's negative 1 there. We've gone up 1 place, haven't we? So that's plus 1. To go from negative 1 up to 0, that's also plus 1. So that's plus 1. Now, obviously, to go from 0 to 1, we've added 1. To go from 1 to 2, we've added 1. And then to go from 2 to 3, we've added 1. Do we think it's likely this pattern's going to continue? There's no reason to think that it won't. So we want to think about adding 1 as we move down to each line. So, well, what's 3 plus 1? 4. 4 plus 1 is 5. 5 plus 1 is 6. 6 plus 1 is 7. And then 7 plus 1 is 8, isn't it? So there we go. We've added 1 all the way down. Now, I'm going to take those away. We've just added 1. Alright, so that's plus 1, and that's plus 1, and that's plus 1, and that's plus 1, and that's plus 1. So we've just continued our pattern. Remember last time what we did is we focused in on these questions. Alright, in fact that's not very tidy. Let's see if we can put a proper square around that. So let's focus on these questions here. Okay, we have, oops. 3 minus, I'm going to just look at this top question here. So it says 3 subtract negative 1. And according to us, the answer to that is 4. Well, what's the relationship between 3 and 1? If you had the number 3 and the number 1, what would you do to those to get the number 4? I hope that you're saying, well, you would add 1, wouldn't you? So 3 plus 1 is equal to 4. We're saying here that 3 subtract negative 2 is 5. Well, what's the relationship between 3 and 2? If I gave you the number 3 and I gave you the number 2 and I said, could you make 5? You would say, yeah, you just add them together. So 3 plus 2 is 5. One more, let's check. 3 minus 3. Or 3 subtract negative 3, I should say. Now we said the answer to that was 6. If I give you 3 and then another 3 and say, tell me how you make 6, you would just tell me you add them together and you would be absolutely correct. Alright, so what we're actually saying here, let's have a look at this, is that when we subtract a negative, we create an addition sum. When we subtract a negative, we create an addition sum. And when we subtract a negative, we create an addition sum. Does that hold up for the next two questions? If we do 3 subtract negative 4, that becomes 3 plus 4, that's 7. And if we do 3 subtract negative 5, that becomes 3 plus 5. 3 plus 5 is 8. So it does actually work if we continue that all the way through. So what we're saying here is that when we subtract a negative number, the result is an addition sum. So let's just leave the word sum off there, we don't need that. So when we subtract a negative number, the result is an addition. Okay, so I'm just going to do some examples here, and I'm going to kind of do similar to what I did before. So I'm going to do 5 subtract negative 2. Well, what have I just said? When we subtract a negative number, we create an addition sum. So that's going to be 5 plus 2, which is 7. All right. 11 subtract negative 6. When we subtract a negative, we create an addition sum. So that becomes 11 plus 6, 17. All right, and last but not least, let's do negative 2 subtract negative 5. Now, there's quite a lot of negatives going on there, okay? But remember that negative 2 isn't changed. That's just our starting point of our calculation. When we subtract a negative number, we create an addition sum. So that's going to be plus 5, okay? Now, if you need your number line, by all means use it, but we're at negative 2. We're adding 5, which means we're going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places to the right, which gives us 3. Okay, so the important thing to remember from this video, just like last time, is this bit here. Okay, subtracting a negative number will result in an addition sum. Okay, subtracting a negative number will result in an addition sum. All right, so that should be enough for you to tackle question 2 and question 3. I know this material is new, but negative numbers crop up all the way through school, and it's well worth investing your time at this stage in your first year to really get to grips with, really understand how negative numbers behave. Okay, because if you don't, they can get in the way of you learning other things. All right, so if you can just get to grips with how they behave and the couple of rules that explain how they behave, you'll put yourself in a really good position for going forward into next year and beyond. All right, same as before, if you're struggling or you need any help, get in touch. It's really not a problem. All right, this work is important and I really want to make sure that you're getting the help that you need. So I am around. Glow email, Teams chat, both are fine. Okay, good luck with the work and be in touch if you need any help.